Hey everybody, how you doing? Danny Harris here. Another video for you today that is answering the question that is one of, if not the most commonly asked question that I get asked from golf clubs. So I'm going to sort of get this one out of the way, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a free gift which is going to explain the whole thing to you, and it's all about Facebook pages. You see, an awful lot of people, when they first start a Facebook page for a golf club, they don't quite understand that it's slightly different to running your own kind of personal Facebook profile as we all kind of do on a regular basis. So I'm going to explain to you exactly how Facebook pages work, and I'm going to do it in a very, very simple way. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you to death. I'm going to make it very, very easy for you. And then I'm going to give you something at the end of this video that will allow you to put into practice what I've said, and you'll get some more sales from your Facebook page, which is one of the things that people find rather frustrating, that they can't kind of work out how to do. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I want you to imagine your Facebook page is a magazine. Okay, so bear with me because we're going to go through a few steps to get to the kind of the total story here, but it will all come together. Imagine that your Facebook page is a magazine, and if you think of any magazine, one of the key things that the people in the magazine are trying to do, in fact, the key thing, is they want you to see the adverts in the magazine, because that way you will buy the products being advertised, and that way the advertisers will continue to pay the magazine for advertising space within that magazine. Okay, makes sense? So if you had, oddly enough, I got a copy of, where's it gone? One of these things through the post today, the Yellow Pages. I haven't seen one for a long time, but this will come into play in a second. So if you have a magazine that is like the Yellow Pages, very few people are going to read it because it's pretty boring. Yeah, it's just adverts. There's nothing in there but adverts. So the magazine producers, I think is the right, publishers, that's the word I'm looking for. The magazine publishers, what they do is they put into their magazine lots of great, interesting content based around whatever the subject of the magazine happens to be. And because people are reading the interesting stuff, they invariably bump into the adverts, therefore making the adverts work. Because, as I say, if you look in the Yellow, nobody reads this for fun, do they? You know, obviously, I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there that does, but nobody with any sense would read the Yellow Pages for fun. But this is what happens with so many people's Facebook pages. What they do is they just put on advert after advert after advert. Come and buy this, come and buy a 4-ball, come and buy a buggy, we're doing membership, whatever it happens to be. But there's no interesting content. It is just sales, sales, sales. And that doesn't work. So now I'm going to explain to you, if you bear in mind the concept of a magazine and you put good content and then you get the advert scene, I'm going to explain to you how Facebook works and why this is relevant to when you produce a Facebook page. You see, what a lot of people don't realise is Facebook tracks everything about your Facebook page. So kind of how popular it is, how many people are interacting with it, how well you're kind of doing in the community of Facebook pages. So here's what I want you to imagine. We've got the scenario of your Facebook page is like a magazine. Now imagine there is the world's best magazine shop or store, whichever you want to call it. And this magazine store has every kind of magazine that the world could possibly come up with. Okay, so it's not only golf magazines, there's other sport magazines, there's also knitting magazines and yoga and trains and God knows what else. There's every kind of magazine you could have in this store. Now the beauty of this magazine store for the store owner, where he's actually very, very clever, is every person that walks into that store only sees the kind of magazines that the store owner already knows that you're interested in. So in my case, when I walk into that store, because I'm someone that's interested in golf, I'm likely to see golf magazines. Okay, I also quite like football, so I see football magazines. I'm not interested in music or fashion or any of that kind of stuff, so I don't see the music and fashion kind of stuff. Okay, so my experience and everybody's experience within the magazine store is slightly different. In fact, it's quite dramatically different in a lot of cases, dependent on what the magazine owner, the magazine store owner knows you already like. Okay, keeping up so far? Now, what happens then is, let's suppose when you walk in, there's a massive wall of magazines that you could potentially pick from in the subjects that you've already sort of agreed that you like and so on. The magazines that are most popular, the man who owns the store very cleverly puts them in the places that you're most likely to view them. So the more, a bit like if you go to a supermarket, I know they put different products in different places depending on how much they want you to buy that product, the things they make more profit on or whatever. I know there's a saying in a supermarket called eye level is buy level or something like that. So having that premium spot makes people buy more. And I know the end of an aisle in a supermarket is, for some reason, if you're someone who sells things to supermarkets, you have to pay to get your product at the end of the aisle. Okay, so this magazine wall of all these magazines that you could be potentially interested in, the more popular these magazines are, the store owner very cleverly moves them into a place where you're more likely to read them. So the better you become, the better position you get within the store. Okay, keeping up so far? I hope I'm not losing you on this, but this is kind of how Facebook works. You see, when you go into this magazine store, it's very similar to going into Facebook. You see, when you go into Facebook, very cleverly what Facebook do is they only care about you having the best experience of Facebook as a user. They don't really care about businesses or advertisers or anything like that. They just care about what you think as a user of Facebook, because if the users are happy, the marketers and the people who spend the money on advertising will still come back, almost regardless of kind of what happens. So when your page is only doing adverts like the Yellow Pages, nobody's interested in really reading your page, or in the case of Facebook, interacting with your page, liking, sharing, commenting, all of that kind of thing. So nobody's really interested. So your Facebook page, or magazine in this context, is being moved to the far reaches of where nobody's really going to see your magazine in this magazine shop. Am I keeping up? So the worse your Facebook page performs, the further and further away you're going, the less and less people are going to see your page. Okay, now a little known thing that shocks a lot of people is, on average, any Facebook page, as you put out a post, it will only be seen by 6 to 8% of the people who have liked your page. If you're getting further and further out, that number's going down and down, and some people aren't even getting 1%, what they call reach, so eyeballs on your posts. If you're doing very well and you're getting in those primary positions, your reach will go up. You might get 50, 60, 80, 90% reach on a regular basis. But here's more. You see, the chap that owns this magazine store is clever, for want of a better word, okay? And he knows that if you are a business and you get these prime spots, then you're going to make more money as your business. So guess what he does? He says, if you want these super prime spots, these ones are almost guaranteed to make you money, you're going to need to pay me to do it. And I'll put your magazines there and I'll leave them there. And that's what we call Facebook ads. So you can only ever kind of get around the edges with your free Facebook page, but you can get closer and you can get some traction. But if you want real results and you want to be in those super prime spots, you need to pay the store owner, because that's how he makes his money. And he'd be an idiot not to, quite frankly. And let's be honest, he's doing quite well. He's not short of a couple of quid. Then that business is well, I'd like it, put it that way. So anyway, now the thing comes where we get just slightly more technical, but this is almost the point where we're going to cut it off, is even if you pay for one of those prime spots, so the real super prime spots, what you'll find is, if your magazine isn't worthy of that prime spot, in other words, even though you're paying for it, you're still being judged as to how it's performing. And if you get your targeting wrong, so your magazine's showing up and still not doing the stuff that the people that are coming into the magazine shop want, you're going to pay more for your prime spot than someone who gives the good stuff into the prime spot. Does that make sense? So if your Facebook ads aren't performing very well, you're going to pay a lot more per click or per view or per interaction or whatever it is than somebody who's getting their ads very right. So to give you a quick example, where you do your targeting, if you were targeting I don't know, teenage girls' makeup, and your targeting was men who are over 60, you're clearly not going to get very good results. Therefore, your what they call your relevance score for your ad is going to drop significantly, and therefore your cost per view is going to go through the roof. If, however, you get your targeting right and you target teenage girls correctly and so on, you're going to get a much better rate of return on your ad spend, okay? And that is about how Facebook works. So you're like a magazine, you put content in, you see the ads, you get nearer and more popular in Facebook, therefore you see more. However, you now are wondering, well, what the hell do we put on Facebook? And this is where I have a totally free gift for you. In the comments on this video, don't look yet if you're watching this live, because it's going to take me a minute to finish this video and put the comment in there. I'm going to put a link to a totally free document I've put together called 30 Days of Facebook Posts for Your Golf Club. Now, you can download this, and all you have to do is go to number one, do that on day one, and that's a month's worth of content that will get you closer to where you want to be in that magazine store. Does that kind of make sense? So, and then you can just regurgitate that every month and add in your own bits and add in your adverts and so on. But this will get your magazine closer to where you want your magazine to be in the Super Smart magazine shop, okay? But that's it for this video. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions, as always, just feel free to shout, send me a message, do whatever you fancy. And I will put the link to that thing, that free guide, in the comments. Please don't try and look at it at the moment because there won't be anything there, but I'll get you something to there right now, okay? I hope you're well, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye-bye for now.